Welcome to the Four Verts podcast. I'm your host, Logan C. To my right is Jacob Aycock, Carson Steele, and Grayson Moore. We're going to be your home for the next season of college football, so just strap in. We'll be here from the opening kickoff into the last-second field goal that ruins your parlay. We're going to be coming every week with picks, reactions, everything in between from your team to the FCS team that you do not care about. We're going to cover it, hopefully, in each episode. We're going to start out with one episode per week, especially during the preseason. There's not a whole lot in the college football world. We're trying to get ramped up here in the off season. I know we have media days coming. Regular season win totals will be today. We're going to give those picks. We got some locks from each of us today. So just strap in. You'll learn with us. We're not gambling professionals, so gamble at your own risk responsibly. Take our picks if you like them. If you don't. If you want to fade us, fade Carson. He's the worst. And with that being said, we're going to get into it.
Had more money than you last year.
He did.
So we're going to start, and we're just going to go each around the room talking about our regular season win total locks. We're going to do just one apiece and start off, and we'll come back around. Just kind of go over the schedule, why we bet it, why we like them, who we like, what coaches we like, and whatnot. Later on this episode, we're going to talk just some headlines. We're going to talk kind of some teams, coaches, players that, seats could be getting a little warm, They click on the little seat warmer in the car. There's a fire brewing down there. So we'll get into that later. But we'll go ahead and kick it off with regular season win totals. Over, under, Grayson. Who's your first team? Who you riding this year?
Okay, so after a lot of research, I think I'm going to ride with the USC Trojans as my lock.
USC, what's the over-under at?
Over-under sitting at 9.5 right now.
What odds you got on that? Minus.
I think it's around minus.
I think MGM's got it at minus 170 at 9.5. So I
believe it's close.
What's the?
You got to throw some money on it. I'm looking. Well, FanDuel's got it at minus 170.
How many games do they have to win?
10. It'll be
10 games.
How many games did they win last year?
They were 11-3 last year. Regular season, they did.
Yeah, that's
they just lost to Utah in regular season.
Twice.
So,
Twice.
Well, they didn't play in the regular season twice. They lost to them in the conference.
So they only lost one game.
They had a close game with UCLA, didn't they? Or did they blow UCLA out?
I think they won that. I can pull it up, but why do you like them this year? Caleb Williams, is that about it?
Caleb Williams is coming back. I think Lincoln Riley is going to pull something together again. I mean, you can't just count them out after one good year. So, like I said, they won 11-3 last year. Utah could be tough again this year. They've got some fairly easy games first 3 weeks. I think their first sensible competition would be Arizona State week 4.
So just for the listeners at home, I'll go over their schedule real quick. We got San Jose State at home, Nevada at home, Stanford at home, Arizona State on the road at Colorado, Arizona at home, Notre Dame. Is that at Notre Dame or is that?
That is at Notre Dame.
Yeah, it is.
I didn't know if it was a neutral playing side or not. But Utah, they get Utah at home. That's huge. At Cal. Washington at home, at Oregon, and then UCLA at home. That's a tough back stretch there. You got Notre Dame, Utah, Cal, Washington, Oregon, UCLA, six games in a row. That's
tough.
Yeah, pretty brutal schedule there.
So what games are just dead wins, and what games have you worried about that to get to that 10-win mark?
Like I said, first 3 weeks look fair. I think they can win all 3 of those games. Week 4, they could probably win that game. Colorado will be interesting to see just what Deion Sanders does with that team.
I think they're going to blow them up. USC's got too much firepower for Colorado. I
think Colorado.
I think that's an easy win.
Yeah, we'll get into Colorado later.
Yeah.
Arizona, probably an easy win. I don't know what to expect from Notre Dame.
They got Sam Hartman, correct?
Yes.
Oh. That could be a tough game at Notre Dame.
Then you move into Utah. I mean, they're probably looking to blow off some steam from last year, so they'll probably win that game. Cal should be easy. Washington could be a competition. The game I look at most is Week 11, Oregon, and it's at Oregon. So I mean,
Union game at Eugene. It's probably gonna be late night,
It's-
9 o'clock kickoff. That's
could be a primetime
game day,
game.
Yeah.
And then UCLA to wrap it up, that's a win. So I'm looking at them to at least get 10 wins. They've got 6. I think they've got 6 starters on offense coming back, 8 defensive starters coming back. They pulled, I think, from what I found, the number 1 high school recruit. They signed him. They got to work on defensive stuff.
Their defense is going to be atrocious,
That's-
but they play in a league full of bad defenses outside of Utah. But they should have star power at wide receiver still, and then, obviously quarterback, best quarterback in the league. I think pretty confidently can say that still.
Has anybody won 2 Heisman's ever?
Yeah.
Yeah, Herschel Walker won 2 Heisman's a day.
Yeah, how long ago was that?
That was in the
Forever
80s.
ago?
Tebow not?
No,
No.
he was up for it, but
He
didn't.
almost did. Yeah. Bryce almost did.
Did Barry Sanders win 2?
Before my time, brother.
That's what I'm saying. It's been a minute since mine's went back to back.
Oh yeah. I don't think Herschel did it back to back. Did he?
Archie Griffin's the only player to win it.
Twice. Wow.
I was wrong.
I feel like they get Heisman fatigue.
Like MVP.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. We'll get into our Heisman votes in a later podcast for sure, and we're gonna give you picks and everything on that. But we'll stick to the USC. Anybody else have anything on USC or? I mean,
I feel like teams are going to be a little bit harder this year. Oregon having Bo Nix for another year, even though Bo Nix really isn't. I mean,
he's nice.
But he's been.
He puts up
Yeah, I know.
numbers. He got out of the SEC playing Pac-12 defenses. You see how
Do you
good
think
players
if he would
can
have
be.
went
Tony
to,
Penix Jr. being the threat that he is too, and then I also believe UCLA actually is going to have a very good squad.
Washington's not going to be asleep. They
That's
got them
what
at
I'm
home.
telling you.
But, I mean, I definitely see, you can only lose 2 games and still hit your 10-win mark. But, Notre Dame, Utah, Washington, Oregon, UCLA to close out the deal. That's 5 games. If Caleb Williams get hurt,
yeah,
you're screwed.
I feel like he's your whole season.
Yeah,
I really don't
it
know
does.
pretty much.
It does.
Do you really know anybody else on that team?
Well, I mean, they
Their wide
lost.
receivers are good. They were good last
I
year. They
thought
got the same guys coming back,
Oh,
I
for real?
believe. Yeah.
I think they really lost was their running back from last year. Forgot his name.
They
but-
don't even run the ball. It don't matter.
Yeah.
Well, who's
He's
your
a good
backup
weapon.
is the
It's
question.
West Coast offense, big dog.
This year they've got Austin James taking the ball, I believe,
If
or
If one
Austin
of-
Jones.
one of Caleb Williams' little pretty finger painted fingers gets broke, you're
that makes
screwed.
Can't name you the backup.
pisses me
if I had to.
off.
I'm
not a
not
fan.
many backups I could name you. If you want to be honest.
Gun in my head.
I'm not a fan of the whole painted fingernails ordeal from him either.
Yeah, I don't-
Too much coming from him.
But he is in LA, California
Yeah,
boy, whatever. So
Gets to your head a little bit.
yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, we'll move on from USC and Carson. You going to keep us in the Pac-12, or you going to take us to another conference?
For my first one, and out of my 3, this one's the one I like the most. I'm gonna go with Clemson.
Dabo boy.
Not the biggest Dabo fan, but this is half and half between. I think they've got some pieces, and they also strength of schedule.
And they don't have DJ Youngavulua.
Yeah, the security guard's gone.
Yeah.
So
that should help your case for sure.
so you're gonna get some wins just strength of schedule alone. I think they rank 35th in strength of schedule.
Yeah.
The quarterback I want to talk about first. I think me and Jacob actually agreed. Possibly put up some Heisman numbers. Cade Klubnik.
Yeah. He's supposed to be the truth.
He came in the Syracuse game. I wrote his stats down in that game somewhere.
They did a lot of work in the transfer.
He had
portal.
like 24-28 on that game. And what I like him more is they were like the next weekend they played Tennessee. Pretty shaky, but the kid's young. And he's got the new OC from TCU, Garrett.
He did great last
year. The guy, you see what he did with Max Duggan.
Yeah.
I think he's going to do something special with this kid. And they've got 8 on offense returning, 8 on defense. The O-line has 4 out of 5 stars coming back.
Wow, that is,
I mean, offense, I think they're good. Defense, that's what wins you games. And if they can just get their defense right, I definitely can see them cranking out, 9 to 10 wins easy.
what was the win total? I don't know if we got that. We got the odds.
What I have them going, or what is?
What was the line? I can pull it up real quick. So I got it over 9.5, similar odds. Got it minus 168 on FanDuel. That looks like the best bang for your buck there. That's still putting up a lot of money to,
I've got them going 10-2. If you want me to rattle off.
Yeah. Tell me the wins and tell me what you think the losses or the little toss-up games that could go either way.
I think the first 2 you start out strong. Charleston Southern W.
Yeah.
Florida Atlantic win. Florida State.
You skip. They start out with Duke.
Oh, that's right.
At Duke?
I wrote win for that one.
Yeah, definitely a win.
Florida State, I think, is your first challenge. Toss up. Really, I think whatever defense comes to play in that game wins it.
I think that could be a good ACC quarterback battle. With
Yeah.
Jordan Travis. And
I think
Kelly.
you'll learn what both teams are made of in that game.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna continue betting them.
We may already know some about Florida State. They open with LSU, so
Yeah, I want to get into that later. I'll save it.
they're going to be a little more battle tested than Clemson going in this game as far as who they're playing. But you can keep going.
And then I said 10-2. There's another one in here. Miami kind of scares me. After I got 2 dubs, Syracuse, Wake Forest, back-to-back wins, and then you go to Miami. I've heard some good things about Miami.
You do every year though.
Yeah, it's another thing. We were at the game that year.
Yeah, every year they talk big talk, got all the recruits, got transfers, but
And not to look over Notre Dame, but I am gonna say Clemson will get that one. They'll be NC State and Georgia Tech. Y'all probably disagree with me on the North Carolina one. I think they'll come out for that one. And then I think the same as last season, the last game, South Carolina. I think South Carolina gets the win in that one.
Again?
Yeah.
I disagree. I know you're big on South
I like
Carolina,
I'm
but
Beamer ball all the way.
you're Beamer ball, but I disagree.
Is that one at home or away? I think that was.
It's at South Carolina, but
That's what was influencing my.
South Carolina beat them last year, so I think Clemson may
But
show
they
up
beat
more
them.
for
They
that.
beat them at home.
They did beat them at Clemson, but I don't know. The Clemson Tigers maybe just be pissed off about that and come out.
A few of them is
swinging, just
interchangeable. I feel like you can easily get 9 to 10 wins with this schedule you have, and
For sure.
if this your OC is what he says he is, quarterback friendly with this new kid, I think it's looking good for you.
Yeah, I mean 10 wins is possible for sure. I mean,
And it's not like you're playing in the SEC either.
you're gonna have the best defense in that conference most games, maybe outside of the Florida State game, and if these Miami recruits are for real. I mean, but North Carolina's not gonna have a defense. They got Drake May, but Drake May can only take you so far against an elite caliber team. I don't like to pick.
And Dabo's not going to be, Dabo's not going to lie down and just.
He's one of the top tier coaches in the league still, and
He gets his recruits, that's for sure.
and this may be a year he's wanting to prove that he is still one of the top. He kind of got overlooked last year, didn't have a great season thanks to old DJ, but it could go.
They haven't played for the Natty since 19.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, LSU.
Yeah, but I like to pick. Jacob, you want to get us started with your first one?
I'm going Notre Dame here for my first one.
All right.
Going Notre Dame here.
Against Carson and Grayson.
Yeah, for sure.
Both 2 regular season matchups there, so that could determine y'all's.
Reason I'm going Notre Dame.
What is the total there for Notre Dame?
8.5, 9.
It's 8.5, I believe.
8.5. So you gotta get 9. What's the odds look like on that? What?
Minus 120.
Yeah,
over.
I got minus
115.
I got minus 110 on FanDuel right now. 8.5. So that's pretty good. Pretty good. Even odds won't have to put up as much as them two on the first one.
Last year went 9-4. Went 9-4 under new head coach Marcus Freeman. Of course, that throws kind of a wrench in your plans. I mean, they're also an independent school, so they're not having to worry about conference play, really.
They have really good non-con games considering they don't have a conference.
Yeah, and I mean, just strength of schedule, it's not there. I mean, they do not have a powerful schedule. I mean, they have
They got some big names they got to play. This year.
worst games: Ohio State, USC, Clemson.
That you said not a hard schedule. That's
Ohio State and
that's,
Clemson.
that's 3 playoff.
To gather their wins, though, boys.
Yeah.
To gather their wins. If you're gonna, I mean, we're needing 8-9. We're needing 9 wins.
So you just got to win one of those
We
and
need
take
one
care
of
of
those.
business. Win
Yeah.
one of those and take care of business
Yes.
the rest of the schedule.
Which one do you
Yes.
like better?
I feel like they have a better shot at Clemson. I do feel like
I would say Clemson or USC.
I
for
would
sure.
I would definitely say them too. I think if Ohio State, I don't know, man. Ohio State has just been it the past couple of years. They've been just kind of just going through people for real.
They get Ohio State at home, which is huge,
Yeah.
and it's fairly early in the year, still in September. And Ohio State loves to try to lose those games, those big games early in the year, but they somehow always pull it out. But they
Look-
do always, I feel like, are in a close game.
It's
It's better to lose them early than late.
Let's
for
let's
sure.
be honest here. Just the power of this schedule. You're going Navy week 1, Tennessee State week 2, NC State week 3. NC State's not really a pushover, but you're not really looking for much. from
Notre
them.
Dame should.
Central Michigan. I mean, it's Central Michigan.
Yeah.
All right. Then you got Ohio State, obviously. Throw a question up in the air on that one. You got Duke. If we were playing basketball, I'd be a little bit worried, but, let's take it to the gridiron on this one.
Yeah.
Playing Louisville the next. And you've got USC, also question up in the air. Can they come through on that one? Then they go. Do they go to Pitt?
No, they got Pitt at home.
Pitt at home. Okay, they're playing Pitt at home.
Pitt's one of those
Pittsburgh.
teams, man.
You're right.
Right.
That's a little questionable in my book too.
Yeah.
I think it's Kenny Pickett recency bias.
I think the relevancy of Kenny Pickett is saving
I
them.
think we're
too.
just used to Kenny Pickett being there still, and
Yeah.
we're just not paid attention to Pitt.
They
at
give
all
me
last
Stanford
year.
vibes at the end whenever.
Stanford's gonna be terrible this year.
Well, yeah, not this year, but like they are always that team at the end of the season that messes
That's
up
why I looked
somebody's.
at this and I was like, Stanford at the end of the season, right after playing
Yeah,
Wake
that-
Forest. Come on. I mean, and that's how it goes. They're going Clemson, Wake Forest, Stanford.
Yeah,
So as long as they can just,
you gotta win one of the big 3 games though. Like you're just banking on that.
Yeah.
That's your bet. I mean,
Yes.
that's what you're betting.
yeah.
I don't hate
And
that.
it's always, it's prone to happen at some point in time.
What do you think about their quarterback?
Sam Hartman,
Mm-hmm.
he's probably one of my favorites, man.
He's
Kicking
good.
Ball.
He was good.
He
That-
was on Wake Forest last year, and
fun to watch.
I took Wake Forest every parlay.
Yeah, I cashed in on some of their overs for sure, and it was. He plays good ball. He's got some good numbers
He's
last
lights out.
year.
He's lights out.
Got a new offense coordinator, Tommy Reese.
Yeah.
To Bama. So you got a new offense coordinator come in. I don't remember who they hired, if you know.
I have no clue.
But maybe Sam Hartman can work with him or
I
whatever.
hope he
and,
can.
Well, we can move on from that, and I'll go to my first pick. Team I love the most this year, who I will be riding all year with, is my beloved Arkansas Razorbacks. You're going to see a lot of them in my picks this year. Every Instagram post, Twitter post, you're going to look at my picks every week, and you're probably going to see the Razorbacks on most of them. I love their schedule. Outside of maybe 2 games, the over win total is 6.5, so all I got to get to is 7, and I think I'm going to beat a 7 easy. I think I'm going to be 8, maybe 9 if their defense can figure some things out and we can get a wide receiver to play the ball. But we started out, let me pull it up real quick. We got WCU win, Kent State win, BYU win. It's at home. That helps. At LSU, that's a loss, but somebody gets banged around in that Florida State game. JT Daniel, or he gets hurt, somebody gets hurt. Arkansas can win that game. It's at LSU, which makes it.
Florida State or
If LSU has some players banged up from that Florida State game, Week
okay.
4, Arkansas could catch them sleeping, could catch them in recovery, trying to whatever.
That's always a big game.
Arkansas's got Texas A&M at home Week 5. Texas A&M is they
A&M. They're playing A&M ball at this point in time.
They have so much ammunition, like just player wise, it's insane. But last year, look at them. They're a team that could finish, second.
Do you believe
in the
Jimbo
West.
is washing? Like he's just
I,
in retirement stage at this point in time?
I think he's. I think Jimbo. We can get into that later, but I do think Jimbo's very overrated. He had Jameis. He was.
Yeah, but he
What-
was good.
what
He
else
was
is he
good
got?
with
Good,
a couple
not-
quarterbacks before.
Good,
Christian
not great.
Ponder,
Good, not great.
I mean, you're right. You're right.
Like he had Jameis and he won it, and like they went against an Auburn team that was hot, but not the best Auburn team by far. But I don't think Jimbo deserved that money, and I think we can get it later this show because I got a feeling he may come up on some seat warmer segment, but we'll get in that later. But moving on down the list, I'm going to throw that as a toss up. At Ole Miss, I think that's a W. At Alabama, that's going to be a loss more than likely. Mississippi State at home should be a win. I mean, it could be a toss-up if something goes wrong. If there's some injuries to KJ Jefferson or Raheem Sanders, these stretch right here could hurt us. At Florida, I think that's a win. I'm counting it as a win. At Florida or Auburn at home rather, I do think that's going to be a win too. First year coach Hugh Freeze, they could surprise me, and that game could go either way. FIU, that's a win. Missouri to close it out at home, I believe that's a win too. So perfect world. I think this Arkansas Razorback team could get some traction and win 8 games.
I think it's a solid team, yeah. I would agree with the quarterback, running back duo they've got coming in this year.
They got a solid, experienced backfield there with KJ Jefferson and Raheem. I got a couple stats there. KJ Jefferson threw for 2,600 yards, 24 passing touchdowns, only 5 interceptions, almost 650 rushing yards, and 9 touchdowns last year. So, I mean, he accounted for 35 or 33 touchdowns itself. Raheem, 1,400 yards, 10 touchdowns, 6.5 yards per carry. Like
Do you see
they're a threat on the ground.
Do you see Jefferson maybe in Heisman conversation?
I mean, if everything goes right, they got to pick up some. They got to pick up some big wins. He's got to have good games against at LSU and at Bama for sure.
Yeah.
And then they got to kind of take care of the board. But if he is, that means I've definitely cashed.
Do
this
they
bet.
have to win the Natty for him to be a Heisman quarterback?
No, I
Okay.
don't think so. I think they.
He just has to play those teams well.
Nah, he's going to have to do more than that. He's going to have to beat one, if not both, because they are in the SEC West, and I feel like he would at least need to be in the SEC championship. So he would need to beat probably both of them to be in it.
I got you.
Just because that Heisman loves, a good team. They want a good team. They want somebody playing that championship weekend. But I don't know. I like the team. They got a lot back. I think they got 3 out of 5 offensive linemen. I don't have it written down, so I could be wrong coming back. But
Their offensive line was very raw last year.
good last year.
they're
Yeah,
just-
I love Sam Pittman too. He's one of those coaches
He
you just
gets
like.
after it,
He's a football guy.
he gets after it.
He's a football guy through and through, and I'm gonna ride my old boy Sam and Arkansas Razorbacks this year. So that's pretty much all I got for them. But we move on. Do we want to wrap man? Can't talk.
Right back around.
Back to you, Grayson, for your second.
All right, so this may come as a bit of a surprise, especially this early, being pick number 2. But I have pretty good confidence it'll hit. At minus 145, we've got the Auburn Tigers over 6.5 wins.
Whoa.
Mm.
That's a bold one right there.
Did you look at their schedule?
Yeah, that's what I'm checking out here.
Yeah.
They've got a tough
Hey.
stretch, kind of.
He's a Hugh
Tell
Freeze
him
man.
he's a Hugh Freeze guy.
Yeah.
I'm a Hugh Freeze guy too. All right. I mean, besides Les Miles, name somebody that was able to beat Saban in back-to-back years. Kirby too.
Yeah.
Kirby too. No, I mean, you can look at it either way you want to, but those guys, Les Miles,
There's
2 natties.
Did
No,
Les
just
Miles
one. He has
beat-
a natty, don't he?
Did Les Miles really beat him, or did we just give him a game by kicking 4 field goals and missing all of them?
I mean,
I mean, that's not coaching. That's just us giving you the
but
game.
I mean, still.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, the same thing happened with you, though. I mean,
Positive on your bet, you got Georgia and Bama at home. negative, you have to play Georgia and Alabama every year, and that just screws Auburn over every year. Go ahead and tell us your 7 wins for Auburn Tigers.
All right, so just to bust out the 7 wins, I'd go week 1, you got UMass. Week 2, we travel to California. That could be a test. I figure they'll come out with a win there. Sanford's not going to be a bad team. Between them and Troy, it's kind of a toss-up for that conference this year. So A&M, we're still kind of undecided on them. I think they'll come out with a win there. And then you start to, depending on the momentum you're riding into that Georgia game, you expect Auburn to come out with some energy, but probably end up losing that one. And
Who does Georgia play before they play Auburn?
I do not know.
I don't know. Probably nobody. Georgia don't play anybody all
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, they have strength of schedule.
Yeah.
Top.
Yeah. They don't. I don't think anybody of significance. They don't play Tennessee until
Darktown High School,
October.
probably.
Yeah.
You go into LSU week, traveling to LSU. That's going to be a tough game in Death Valley, depending on the time, too. I really don't know what to expect of LSU after last year. So I'm going to count that as a loss.
I can tell you what Brian Kelly thinks. They're pretty confident in their team and their quarterback.
At LSU?
Yeah, they're national championship bound after beating Alabama last year. They're riding high. I
seen a TikTok today that was comparing Jaden Daniels to Joe Burrow.
Yeah,
and I wanted to throw my phone.
They're up here.
I was like, Joe Burrow came from Ohio State where they had enough quarterbacks. Jaden Daniels came from Arizona State where he just could not play very good. I mean, he had he was not just the best last year. He was good. Let's not get it wrong. But he's,
they're high on them. I mean, the film looks good, some numbers look good, whatever. But I mean, I'm excited to see
when
them.
you're the whole offense. I think
we're going to see a lot week 1 in Florida State, and they play them in. It's in like Miami or something. I think it is neutral side.
Yeah, it's a neutral side.
No, it's in New Orleans. They played in. They played in.
LSU lost that ball game last year, didn't they? On that.
Yeah,
they played them in Florida last year, but it's in New Orleans.
They played them. No, they played them in New Orleans last year too.
I think so.
Back to back, yes. It was the Sugar Bowl opening game.
I think you are right. Yeah, it's going to be in
Camping World
Orlando.
Stadium.
It'll be in Orlando this year. You are right. They played New Orleans last. All right, and going further from LSU, you got Ole Miss next. You confident in your Tigers there?
I'm confident in Hugh Freeze. We play Ole Miss. Well, I say we. I mean Auburn.
Well, you're an Auburn Tiger now, buddy. You got money on the line.
I
You're
will
with them.
strap in for this season.
You are.
So I've got the Ole Miss. I've got Auburn winning that game. It's probably going to be a tough game. Could be a shootout. But a lot of emotions in that game, I figure.
Ole Miss is bringing a pretty good bit of people back, too.
You've got to play this in. Lane Kiffin, all the Auburn talks over the offseason, and then they bring in Hugh Freeze, who used to coach at Ole Miss. So
could be a revenge game for either side if you want to think about it. I think Ole Miss would be a little more to play for there, trying to beat their old coach, but at the same time, it is Hugh Freeze.
I think Lane Kiffin kind of wants that game too.
But Hugh Freeze, Ole Miss's defense is going to be atrocious this year, and one thing about Hugh Freeze, he's going to get a man open against bad defense.
He picks up good defensive players too. Not gonna lie,
they did do well. Auburn did great in the transfer portal this year.
They did.
I know you may have some stats on that one.
I don't have any on that right now. I've looked through it, but
they got a lot of defense players come in. I think they got some offensive help as well. I don't remember exactly who they got, but after Ole Miss, who they got after that?
Roll into Mississippi State. We have Mississippi State at home. I think that's going to be a win, and then the next week will be Vandy. That's easy game. Arkansas, like you said earlier, I think that'll be a good game.
My beloved Razorbacks.
I've got them losing that game, so
you have Auburn losing that game.
I have Auburn losing at Arkansas.
At Arkansas, yeah.
It's gonna be a shootout between you two.
I can't wait for that.
So then we jump into New Mexico State, easy win. I think they'll lose to Alabama.
Iron Bowl at Jordan Hare.
That's the ball game right
the
there.
Iron Bowl at Jordan Hare can go crazy.
Yeah, been to 2 of those. tough place to play.
Carson's been to an Iron Bowl in Jordan Hare.
Been to 2 of them.
Twice.
2 of them, yeah. And there's magic in the air. You can feel it. You can
When you
attest
see-
it. I've been to one as well, but
I made eye contact with Jalen Hurts when Swag Surfing played, and we communicated with our eyeballs, and he was like begging for help with his eyes.
the man that doesn't fear anything was
Tough.
in Jordan.
He's stone cold.
He looked at me in those nosebleeds, and he shook his head. I'm like, I almost went to the concession stand to get another beer.
Tough place to play. But hey, fun fact: the last 5 times Alabama's played in Auburn, they're 2-3.
Yeah.
So it's always a fun game anyway. But I think Alabama comes out on top, and I'm at my 7 wins there. A few stats: they got all their senior wide receivers coming back. They've got Jarquez Hunter at running back. Robbie Ashford's probably going to take the snaps this year, and that's at -145. So I feel like it's a pretty solid bet.
Yeah, I mean, their offense is going to take a leap forward just because Hugh Freeze is there working with Robbie Ashford and, instead of the prior.
The defense is in question.
Robbie Ashford's not a bad quarterback, honestly. I mean,
Yeah.
not your top tier, but he's a Hugh Freeze quarterback.
Anybody has to be better working with a quarterback than Brian Harsin, maybe.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
just
for sure. Oh, and
Rattling off a Rolodex of coaches here.
Think about this for a second. Last quarterback that he really, he worked with Malik Willis at Liberty.
Did well.
Did very good.
Very well at Liberty.
Then when he's at
if you were betting then, you were Liberty every week.
Then when he's at Ole Miss, he turns Swag Kelly into one of the nation's better quarterbacks.
He wants to go pro. You say he's been balling in the
Swag?
CFL. Yeah.
Swag.
Yeah, he's been balling in the CFL apparently. He won a Grey Cup, I think.
If this reaches to any of you NFL teams, sign the Swag.
If it reaches to the Cowboys, don't listen to
Don't sign
Daycock
him.
on that. Don't sign him. Yeah, well, we're good. We'll stick with Dak, I guess. All right. Is that all you got on Auburn? You got us any more stats? Anything?
Well, I was looking over my stats here, but it said Auburn's had over 6 wins each year since 2019. Okay, well, they had 5 wins. They had 5 wins last year.
What about those?
Stat is incorrect.
What about those? What about Hugh Freeze's little helpers he had at Ole Miss? Are they going to make a reappearance
Yeah.
here?
How many over under girlfriends Hugh Freeze is going to have, or
Motivation to play,
or
motivation
girlfriends
to
for his
Yeah.
players set up
Yeah.
any over under scandals at Auburn.
I'm going to say it. Hookers. How many hookers?
Yeah, how many? How many Hindens?
Man, they're a school of integrity. Get off
Yeah, they are. They
Why
do.
you guys
Sorry.
coming at the school of
Sorry,
integrity?
they didn't pay Cam Newton either.
They do preach that. All right, Carson, you got any schools of integrities as your second lock here?
Not
for the regular
integrity. Yeah, this is gonna ruffle some feathers, and I'm excited, and I'm ready to.
Do this.
I'm just jumping in the pool head
Do
first,
it. Do it.
and it's LSU.
God, I knew it.
It's LSU, boys.
season? Over or under?
I can see them getting 9 to 10 wins,
They could.
easy.
But we're sitting
Let's see what the
Win-win.
odds look like.
And I'm waiting to debate this man on my left about.
Nine and a
at
half.
9.5. So you got to make your pick. Is it over? Or
I mean,
under?
you gotta get to 10.
I can see it too. I'm gonna
go over.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I can see it happen. I can see it happening.
10 wins for the Tigers.
That bet is sitting at dead even,
Yeah.
-110.
It's the perfect bet because
If you-
it could if it's
Do you have this as well, or are you just agreeing with it?
no.
If you
I'll
ask-
agree with him. I was too scared to take it. I
If
was
you
being a
ask
pussy.
me,
I was too scared to take it.
it's in the West. It's Bama or LSU.
I agree.
That's how I feel.
I don't think Texas. I think Texas A&M is below them. I kind of think Arkansas is right there below them too, neck and neck. But I think there is a different tier between LSU, Bama, and then the field.
I'm more worried about Grayson's pick taking away that pick, and then if someone and if someone's taking Alabama, taking that away from Alabama too. Because Auburn's a loaded gun at this point in time.
Maybe, yeah. And I think
Because you don't know what you're fixing to come out and get with him.
LSU proved to be a good team at a lot of times last year, and they got a lot of people
Yeah.
coming back. Carson, I'm sure you got some stats on them with their star power and what you think about them.
Well, they've got 8 return on offense, 4 on defense. you got your quarterback coming back with all of his offensive line -1. He's going to be protected another year in the system, more comfortable. They ranked second in recruiting the transfer portal behind, I believe it was Colorado that was ahead of them. They brought in 4 corners, going to help your secondary, 3 defensive tackles. You got some strength on the defense. If they tighten that up, that's just more wins. Strength schedule 63rd. You got a few.
That surprises me because I'm looking at their schedule here, and we can go through it if you want to. But
Yeah, we'll get into
there's
it.
tough ones. I mean,
I think I've changed their. We'll go ahead and start off with that. I've changed probably 50 times if they're going to win or lose to Florida State.
Yeah.
And if you do that, don't bet on it.
I can't wait for that game. I don't know how excited y'all are.
I
but
think it'll be a redemption game, and simply with the fact they lost to them last year.
Shouldn't have lost that ball game.
that
They're
helps.
going to have bulletin board material.
That was the glue to 2 of my parlays, even after the Florida-Utah game that I went through. And I had to listen to all 3 of you tell me that was the dumbest pick I could have ever made, and it came through for myself. And then I get to LSU, Florida State.
Yeah, I bought it on AR-15.
I think Florida State, I'll have to go back and look at the schedule. I think they can. I'll have to see the second team, but I had them losing 2 games before October.
Florida State?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And so I wrote it down as a W. I wouldn't bet that one necessarily because it's, iffy. And then the next 3 weeks.
3. I'm looking at the schedule, and you're forgetting about Sam Pittman and the Arkansas Razorbacks.
I thought you've already marked that down as a loss.
I said loss, maybe quotation marks.
Okay, let's say
It is-
don't
it
change.
is-
Don't change
How,
it.
yeah, how are
It
you
is
gonna
LSU.
come for the man's throat after you?
Yeah, true.
Because I looked up. When you
You've
said
done through
that.
an asterisk
I
out
looked up.
beside it.
Okay.
I looked up.
I agree. Yeah.
I will say that will be their second hardest game after Florida State versus Arkansas. Arkansas is a great football team, but it's at home. It's at Death Valley. I think that's the difference maker. I think Arkansas. I don't see them coming out with a win in that game.
If that game's at 9, no chance Arkansas wins that game. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Sam Pittman, he shouldn't be under the bright lights, and I don't think KJ Jefferson would be great under it either.
I want to like Ole Miss, but I hadn't done too much research. I know you said a few minutes ago their defense was awful, so we'll go ahead and chalk up OW for LSU on that one. The next one is interesting. I did a little research on Missouri, actually. I don't think Missouri will beat them, but I had a stat I was going to read.
It's at Missouri.
That's at Missouri, and Missouri's defense may take the under on that one. I have to see the line when it comes out. They ranked 4th in the SEC in total defense last season, nearly knocked off Georgia.
Yeah, that was a weird game. That game was nasty.
Yeah. They got 8 on defense coming back.
Wow.
They got a pretty stout defense.
They did lose their best defensive player they lost somebody to Georgia. Their best, I believe, best corner safety went to Georgia, transferred.
Possibly, yeah.
I can look that up. You keep talking, and we'll go through that.
I think that'll be, you could. It's in the air for an upset. I still think LSU pulls away with it. I think it'll be closer than people expect it to be with Missouri's defense. Then you go to Auburn at home. I'm not buying stock on Auburn this season. I feel like they're going to have to prove it to me. Could be wrong. I'll eat my words if they come back. But I just...
Oh, we're going to prove it to you.
We'll wait and see on that one. May have to have a head-to-head with Mr. Moore on that one. I still think it's... you're going into Death Valley again. I think that's another difference maker. Auburn in Death Valley, LSU. I still think that'll help them. Army, easy win. And I think... I believe I have my first loss for LSU against Bama.
And that could go either way. It is in Tuscaloosa this year, so that helps. But
Yeah.
I mean,
2019, they
them
came
last year.
in.
Beat us last year.
They could go back to the Missouri. I was wrong. It was not a safety. It was a wide receiver. All SEC wide receiver Dominic Lovett went to Georgia.
Yeah.
I think if they can keep their offense on the field for a long time and surely get you some field goals, you can't have a lot of empty trips, and they may could sneak away with the win, but I still think LSU will get it.
Yeah, so 10 is the number to get. So you're taking wins at Florida State or in Orlando. Grambling will be 2, Mississippi State 3, Arkansas 4, Ole Miss 5, Missouri 6, Auburn 7, Army 8. And you said lost to Bama. Then Florida will be your 9. Georgia State will be 10 wins there. And if one of those don't work out in your favor, you got Texas A&M at home to get you that 10th win. If you
Yeah, I think that's
lose.
very doable. Very doable.
Yeah, I'm looking at the schedule too, and I did think it was tougher than I guess it led on to believe just because of that Florida State opening game. Seen that, and it kind of scared me as well. But I mean, 10 wins is not out of the realm of possibility there for the LSU Tigers and Brian Kelly. I know they sure.
I
For
remember
media days, they have higher hopes than that.
Yeah, last season I remember that Florida game. Me and Rodney took it, and we bet on Florida to beat LSU. Ended up costing us, and I don't think I'm going to make that mistake again this year. I think I'm going to ride LSU versus Florida. I think some of you guys like Florida in that one. Nobody? Okay, good.
I'm down on Florida.
Okay, so we got another win there. Yeah, I think there's a lot of wins that are going to stack up for this LSU team this year.
Yeah, tone will be set Florida State game for sure. Like that's,
that's
that's
I mean,
the
and
home
even
setter.
if you do lose that game, I still think they bounce back and win a lot of football games this season.
Yeah, I mean 10 would be the number to get. So just, I mean, if you can lose 2, that's it. But there's gonna be some y'all have several interesting matchups. All of y'all's teams play each other. It seems like so. I mean, we need to bookmark that
If
until
we can just
later
if
in the
LSU
season.
can get by Arkansas, I'll love it even more than I do right now.
Yeah, if they lose Arkansas at home and then they lose that Florida State game,
Yeah,
you're gonna
very
sweat
tough,
out the
very
rest of that
sweaty
season.
The rest of the season.
Yeah, they need to hedge that at that point. But Jake or Carson, you got anything else on LSU?
I think that's it on it. Yeah, good. 1,000-yard receiver coming back, Malik. 6th in recruiting, but that's just numbers at this point, and you eventually got to put it out on the field and see what happens.
I'm going Vanderbilt.
Oh yes,
Going
I
Vanderbilt.
love it. I love
locking
it. I love it.
Locking it in.
Didn't have a podcast last year, but I'm pretty sure I talked everybody into taking Vandy over 2.5 last
He
year
did.
regular season, and
He
I
did.
told you that there was 3 wins like within 4 weeks. It cashed. It was fun. Everybody had a good time.
Very true. I'm going Vandy with the 3.5 wins. They were overall 5-7 last year.
Yeah,
Had some very sneaky wins.
3.5 is minus 170 on FanDuel for anybody wanting to bet this as well. You will have to put up a little bang for your buck there, but yeah, last year they were a fun team. They were fun.
Had some very sneaky wins over Kentucky and Florida last year. I know Florida wasn't all that,
Kentucky had some injuries as well.
but
We'll
it's
let us this out.
Vanderbilt. It's Vanderbilt. You're not expecting Vanderbilt to come out and just,
They pumped some money into the program. though.
exactly.
They got
exactly.
They redid their field, or they're
Exactly.
redoing their field
Yeah.
right now. I still think they're working on it.
Head coach Clark Lee, he did a very good job with him last year, and I'm hoping he can bring him back. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
What's bringing back the Commodore? Were they good before? I just don't know.
they're
about
not, but get them back to that below to shocking standard.
them. Do you think they'll finish last in the SEC?
No, I'm
East?
going Missouri last, SEC East.
Okay, I like it.
And so, and that's on the schedule. You know what I'm saying?
All right,
So
tell us the.
I'm going-
Tell us the 4 wins.
I'm going with another whooping with the Hawaii Rainbow
That was
Warriors
the easiest win of my life last year.
for sure. The Hawaii Rainbow Warriors coming to Nashville to take on the commies, big dog. And then you've got obviously Alabama A&M. I don't know if y'all know where Alabama A&M is located. Not really worried about that one.
Yep.
Not just that's
So it's 2 wins off the bat.
2 wins right there. Of course, Wake Forest. They're not winning that one. They've got a shot. Probably not going to happen though. Just let's be honest. Then you've got UNLV. Very close game last year, I believe. But you're looking at another win right there.
I think that is another win. Yeah,
I think it's another win. Then you go to Kentucky. If they beat Kentucky, they're back to back.
I think
Not
Kentucky. I think
2
Kentucky's
back, I
coming to
believe.
Nashville. I think Kentucky's coming to Nashville.
Bring the
I'm looking at it,
Wildcats
yeah.
on. Bring Bobby and the boys back. Is all I know to
I'll
tell
fade
you.
you on that one.
Yeah, this is good. Are you calling Kentucky a win?
I'm calling Kentucky. I'm saying You know the video of the dude where it's like, Bama, you're next?
Kentucky's
Kind
next.
of bring it Kentucky, you know what I'm saying?
Alright, yeah.
And then you've got Missouri. Missouri's coming in dead last.
I think that's
Both
got to be
sides
your
of the
fourth win.
conference.
I'm gonna be honest.
That is the fourth win right there.
You got to have that one.
I think you do too. You have Florida.
Careful here.
As Logan and I have both said,
Grayson likes Florida.
the boys misunderstood anyway. So I'm going with that's also a possible win too. Not a big fan of Florida. Not a big fan of their head coach. He's just not a huge like.
So you got them possibly.
I got
with
them
one
possibly
loss,
with 6
maybe
wins.
two
Is what I'm saying.
right now.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Then, all right, what's next for your Vandy? They're gonna beat Georgia at home.
Oh, definitely not. Lost to Georgia, lost to Ole Miss, lost to Auburn for sure.
It's a rough end
That
of the
South
season.
Carolina game, probably getting kicked out of that stadium, and then obviously not getting past Tennessee either.
Sounds like your coach is going to be fired in the bottom half of that.
So you-
Oh yeah, no. Well, are you going to
No.
fire a coach at Vanderbilt for going
No.
with 6 wins possibly?
You're giving them a raise.
You're
Yeah,
giving- you're
he
giving
is
them 6.
definitely. He's going from $100,000 a year to $115,000 a
If you
year.
for sure.
If you can pull off going exactly 500 in the season with Vandy,
It
bunch
would-
of doctors,
I
I
know.
mean,
Nah, he
that's
won-
impressive.
They won 5 games last year.
They
and
won 5 games. last year. Yeah,
They gave him, I'm pretty sure, an extension to his contract.
They did. They did. They were like, "Thank you for bringing this to our city."
This isn't.
Yeah,
This isn't Ole Miss, Texas A&M we're talking about. It is Vandy. But it sounds like you're going to know by October whether you won this bet or not. The back half of that schedule looked
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
brutal.
definitely. It's October or bust at that point in time.
Can we play a game?
Yeah.
Name one Vandy player current. No tap.
Yeah, I think that right there.
No tap.
you're
Yeah.
Dave,
6 wins at the most.
are you
right
ready
there.
for this name?
Yeah, give me
Dave Dickey.
that. All right, man.
Dave Dickey, quarterback, 6'1", 215
Is that your
pounds.
starting quarterback?
He's a sophomore
He's-
from Austin, Texas.
If Dave Dickey was the starting
That's
quarterback,
the
I would
guy.
take it.
No, I don't believe it's
I'm a
Dave
bet.
Dickey. I believe it is. Shit, it may be Dave Dickey for real.
I don't think it is. It's
We take Vandy
Brennan
money line over Georgia.
Storer. Is that it? It's Dave Dickey, isn't
there's
it?
none
It's Dave Dickey.
none of us know who Vandy's starting quarterback
Davey.
is. I don't think they know.
I'm
If
gonna-
you're watching the Nashville area, please update us and give us.
leave a comment.
There's.
I'm getting a Dave Dickey jersey either way now.
I've seen a Drew Dickey. Are you sure his name's Dave?
Yeah, Drew.
see
Drew.
him. I see
Drew.
him.
Drew Dickey. That's an even better name. I got sunglasses on inside, big dog. We ain't got good lighting yet.
I think Walter Taylor's their starter. I'm gonna go with him.
Walter Taylor.
Walter, chalking off for another loss.
You
right
go
there.
for Drew,
There's no way.
Drew
Walter
Dickey
Taylor.
has to start.
Why
You got
is
Walter
there?
White,
There's there.
quarterback.
It's straight doctors' names from here on. This is the quarterback room. You have Drew Dickey, Hayden Moses, Ken Seals, Brennan Storer, AJ Swan, Walter Taylor.
You just named 7 anesthesiologists right there.
Exactly.
Yeah, they got a
They-
quarterback room. If we're just grading it off of names, they're still in the middle of the pack.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Drew Dickey brings them up, and then Walter Taylor brings them right back down.
That kid definitely got picked on a lot in school.
All right, well, enough about their quarterbacks' names. Anything else on your Commodores?
Not really, man. I'm not going for quantity of wins here or just to see it happen. I'm going for the moolah. I'm going for my bets. So
Minus 170 on those odds. You're going to have to put up quite a good moolah to put.
you are right about that. That's probably going to be.
All right.
I'm probably going to quad up on the unis.
With great quarterback play and dynamic offenses in mind, we will segue to my pick here. With the most interesting offense of the 2022 season. I'm going to be taking over 8.5 wins for the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Oh, bring back the power.
Can we score?
Bring back the power.
Can we score more than 20 points a game? Average that.
It's so dreadful watching Iowa football.
Yeah.
You have to
You
love
watch,
it.
you
have
watch
to,
Iowa football for the kids.
You have to love it.
Have to be a football guy.
What would you rather watch again? A single Iowa football game or the rerun of that Cal game that Grayson told us to take that night?
I have nightmares from the Cal game. Grayson lost us a good 5-team parlay.
That was Boise State late night.
No, it was Cal.
It
What was the
was
one?
Cal.
Cal was
Looked
my-
dead at me,
was
right in
Cal.
my face,
That was
and
my
he
first
goes,
lock.
Cal's a lock.
Yeah, you said Cal was a lot.
That
was
was
a
my first
lock.
lock.
Took
But
it.
Boise State was the last leg on the.
Y'all
5-team.
went back. You had to go back and then bet Boise.
Boise was
though.
brutal.
Yeah, I think
You
we
laid
did, yeah.
you laid on the floor that night, and we just
Yeah, it was bad
took it.
loss.
Iowa. I'm gonna run through back to my Hawkeyes guys. All right. Quarterback play last year was atrocious. Terrible offense all around, just terrible. But that being said, one of the best defenses in the country last year. I think they ranked top, 10 in defensive numbers last year. They were phenomenally stopping the ball, just could not score at all. Could not score. And I don't think their offense is going to be just prolific in any sorts because they refused to fire their offensive coordinator or make any changes there. But they did make a change at quarterback. We got Cade McInally. No, it's like Nerma or something. It is something like that.
McNamara.
Yeah, McNamara. Him at quarterback, I think that's got to help. He's coming. So it's got to be better than last year. I don't think you can get worse than last year, that's for sure. If their defense can maintain, they have returned starters. I don't know the number, how many. Their schedule was not terrible this year. They avoided Michigan and Ohio State in the Big Ten, so that helps a lot. Start of the year, Utah State, I believe that's going to be a W. At Iowa State, I believe that's also going to be a W. Western Michigan, another W, starting 3-0. I got to get to 9 just for the people at home. It's plus odds right now, 8.5 plus 110. So I'm getting a little more value than you guys as well. But I got to get to 9 wins. Got 3 right there at Penn State. Probably going to be a loss, but that could be an upset game. I don't believe in Penn State. I'm not buying into the hype. Not doing it. But I marked this down as a loss. Michigan State win. Purdue win. At Wisconsin, I'm calling that a toss game. I don't know what Wisconsin's got. I never do anymore.
Do they have another running back in their arsenal?
Yeah, that's gonna be the
this
question.
year?
That's gonna be the question to ask. But does Iowa have another great tight end like George Kittle
You're right.
or somebody to that
Iowa.
effect?
Iowa is the home of the power eye.
TEU, for sure. And after the Wisconsin game, we come back to a relatively easy schedule to end the season. I feel comparative to some of the others where, the bulk of the schedule's at the end. We got Minnesota at home, Northwestern at home, Rutgers at home, Illinois at home. I think those are all 4 wins. And then we close the year at Nebraska. Matt Rule, first-year quarterback or first-year coach. I think that's a win too. So, like, by my standards, I'm chalking it up like Iowa could win 10 games, and I won't do anything but celebrate my winnings. I liked it. I like this pick arguably more than the Arkansas pick, just because their schedule, Penn State and Wisconsin, really being the only 2 that really are going to worry me. There's a couple other little games that Iowa's going to do Iowa stuff and probably lose in embarrassing fashion, scoring like 7 points off of a pick 6 and no offensive touchdown. But
I'm not going to lie to you. Not a fan of the pick, but I want to root for you. Because I want to root for Iowa.
what teams on those that I named that you think is going to beat Iowa in that
It's not
defense?
that. It's not that. It's just the fact of their power eye team. They're gonna do
I mean,
two things.
it's going to be ugly games.
It's going to the back or it's going to a tight end.
It's going to be ugly games for sure, but real football heads going to love that.
You're
whatever.
right.
So,
You're right.
Take the unders.
Definitely.
Unders and
Definitely.
Iowa over 8.5 is the bet. All right, we're going to take just a second and do a little reset and then get back to Grayson. 3 picks each. I don't know if I said it earlier. I can't remember. We're doing 3 picks each on the win total. Talk on my hands like Saban. And Grayson, your third pick. You got USC. What was that? How many wins was that for your starter?
USC over 9.5. And then we're sitting at Auburn over 6.5.
Yeah, Auburn. Who's your big 3 here? Well, round it out for me.
Man, I can go 2 completely different ways. But and I don't have much to talk about this other than just
Crowd's waiting.
it's Tennessee under 9.5.
Oh,
It's a pretty heavily favored bet at minus 185-ish.
It's tough.
I really just
They went to Morgan Wallen fans.
Yeah,
They went to
the
Morgan
Vol
Wallen.
Nation's
I
gonna be at.
will.
I've had my doings with Vol Nation a little bit last season, and then they made me shut up. And
You're riding that pick with him, aren't you?
I want to. Secretly, I will. I'm pulling for
I
it.
will.
But you don't know how you're gonna do it either, do you?
I think this is kind of the case of like any team that's beat Alabama. That next season is kind of like they crumble. I think they're overhyped. They lost Hyatt. He was an all-star on that team. I mean, he was incredible. And
They lost their quarterback.
Hendon Hooker at
Have you seen their freshman that they had at
They-
Pro-Am?
They love him.
He is crazy.
What's
I do not remember
I
his
can't
name.
remember his name.
They've
It's
got
a weird
they
name.
got a good bit
I
of
heard it
5
today.
stars coming in.
They do. They have a lot of talent.
They
coming in.
definitely recruited well. Also, though.
Joe Milton. Joe Milton.
Not him. Not the.
No,
He's from Michigan.
he was there last year, wasn't
Yes, he's the one with the rocket arm, like 6'7".
That's fine. That's fine.
Dude, I don't know if y'all seen that video of him in the Barstool studio, humming that football. Like it looks like
Oh,
he
yeah, I
did
did
see
see
that.
barely threw it.
That's fine. He'll pay for it.
They have it's a freshman.
No, I don't think it is.
How many
He's a
games
freshman.
I think Joe Milton's starting.
What was
He
Tennessee's?
is, but they've got another guy there.
How many did they lose last season?
Tennessee,
Their record
South
last year was
Carolina,
11 and
Georgia.
2. 11 and 2. So we'll get a quick rundown through the schedule. I mean, I think they'll win week 1 against Virginia, Austin Peay week 2. Week 3 is where it gets interesting. I don't know what my niche is with Florida, but I think they played them close last year. You know, they only lost by 5 to Tennessee. So
He's going against it.
I think
Did you take Florida too?
no. I just think that Florida, you're playing at the Swamp, and I think they get lucky early in the season and kind of make people think Florida's something. So they lose that game. UTSA the week after that. I don't know much about UTSA, so
I don't think we got to worry about them.
I think Tennessee will win that game.
Quick question: what's UTSA's mascot?
Roadrunner.
Yeah, and he was
Still
a bird.
sharp. He's still sharp.
You get South Carolina at home. That's probably a win. A&M, we still don't know about A&M. I feel like there's always overhype with A&M.
I think A&M. I'm just going to mark as a toss up on every game until I see them. I gotta see them do something.
Not very.
That's how I feel about Auburn.
Yeah, kind of. No, not really. I think Auburn's more of a loss to me for a lot of good teams, but
Then you get to that third week in October, and I think Alabama just lays it to them after what happened last year. I think it could be a good game, obviously. I'm not going to disrespect Tennessee that much, but I do think they get beat by Alabama and Tuscaloosa.
they're going to have some vengeance for sure.
Yeah. And so then we roll into Kentucky. I figure they'll win that game. It is at Kentucky's the only note that I have of that game. They go to
Kentucky's high on their quarterback. Well, they were last year with Will Levis, but they're high on.
They're high on their offense every year, though.
They are.
But they always have stud offensive linemen.
Yeah, Devin Leary.
let's see.
I
Hold
don't know.
on.
He was mediocre last year, but Tennessee definitely has some tough games there this year. They're like Auburn. Both your teams have to play Georgia and Alabama every year, which is no longer going to be the case, but always sucks for their schedule.
So then let's see. We move into UConn.
So
I'll
do you get those at not? Do you get it at under 9 or under 9.5?
It's under 9.5.
Okay.
So we've already got 2 losses on record here. UConn, they win that game. At Missouri, they win that game. Georgia, I think that's a game people might have circled on their calendars. I don't know. If you're a Tennessee fan, maybe, because you're looking to beat the top dog. So I think Georgia still comes out with
Did
a win
Georgia-
there. And
Did
puts
Georgia
it-
lose a lot last year on defense?
Yeah, but they just regain it every year.
It's kind of like Alabama
Just
was. I mean,
They get it
didn't
back.
matter.
They just lock and load every year.
So
They got so many
With a
transfers.
defensive coordinator at as their
Head coach.
yeah, he's just
Helps, yeah. Definitely helps.
I think Georgia handles them pretty well there.
So your losses are
My losses are full. I mean, that puts them at 3 losses there, and that hits my under.
Georgia, Bama, and what was the other
Georgia,
one?
Bama, and Florida's the kicker. I mean, it could come anywhere, but I think Florida's probably got the best chance out of the other teams in the SEC.
If you had to pick one more besides Florida, who are you taking?
Probably A&M, honestly.
I would say A&M as well. Yeah, they
I
have the
wanna-
talent. They're going to have a lot more
Or-
talent than.
To boost your Vandy regular season wins over.
Don't take them, man.
I think
do
Vandy.
do not take the commies, big dog.
The-
If anybody has another shot at Tennessee, I want to go with South Carolina and Beamer ball.
I think just because they beat them last year,
I
it's not
know.
going to happen again. I
But I
feel
feel
like that's a trend in college
I
football
know.
for rivals at
Wouldn't-
least.
Yeah, it's hard. Unless you're
think-
Alabama beating Auburn, I mean, I think that is always doable. But
I see South Carolina in the Auburn seat in the East. You
Yeah.
know, just
I
that,
think that's a
just
good
that
comparison.
threat.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
just like a team like you have to pay attention.
you have to account for them.
Yeah, they're not just
Yeah.
gonna be a slouch. But I don't hate this bet. Like I said, I mean, obviously I'm not gonna pull for Tennessee this year, and I don't like them. I
Likewise.
don't like Josh Heupel. I think they lost a lot in Hendon Hooker and Jalen Hyatt, but I do think that third loss would come to a team like Texas A&M or Kentucky. I think would be better suited for them, but
we
we're gonna be
shall
scrapping
see.
for that loss. You're
I
gonna be
mean,
waiting on
and I'm seeing now they've even. I mean, it's going to be a night game in the Swamp. That's kind of why I'm favoring it. It makes me favor it even more. But regardless, Tennessee's a team you have to watch out for if they're on your schedule. I mean, nonetheless, they're still a good football team.
Florida over Tennessee. You heard it here first from Grayson Moore.
I'll
So
take it.
make sure
The Gators won't back down.
make sure to tweet him, Ball Nation, not me, when y'all beat the shit out of them in
I
the
mean,
Swamp.
Billy
Rocky
Napier.
Top his doorstep, not ours.
Billy Napier's fighting for a job in Florida, so
Yeah, he is. We'll probably get to that later on when we get to seat warmers. But anything else on the Volunteers?
I believe that's all I've got.
Carson, you want to move us on to your third and final pick for the regular season win totals?
Yeah, we'll wrap this one up here.
Just to preview, just to go back, you got
LSU.
LSU and
I believe I said LSU
Clemson.
10 wins, Clemson 10 wins. This one, we're going to finish. This team I'm about to say, I think they'll finish positive. Last year they finished negative. They went 5-7 last season. And that's your Texas Longhorns.
Uh-oh. I'm surprised we have not talked about them at
And
all.
I know-
This whole episode we've not discussed them.
They always have that saying, this is our year, this is our year.
Texas is back.
Texas is back. They feel like that. They feel like the Dallas Cowboys.
It does
They
feel like
are.
the Cowboys. They
They-
give off the Jerry Jones
But
vibe.
As a Dallas Cowboy fan, I 100% agree.
If I'm not saying they're gonna, by no means, just come out like 2019 LSU by no means, but I do think that they'll finish positive. I'm shooting for at least 7 games here. I think that's doable. I'm a Quinn Ewers guy. I like
What-
the guy.
What's the win total for them? I feel like it's higher than 7. I think it's 9.5.
Is
It
it?
is definitely 9.5, I believe.
Yeah.
9.5.
Over under 9.5. You're going over.
Oh,
You get an MGM for minus 135 for y'all betting at home. So
I don't know if I want to buy the 9. I think I had them at most 8-4.
So you're on the under here. Yeah, I hate to tell you, but
You think they're gonna?
well, if you're the line's at
Who do you
9.5.
see Texas losing to? You, not you. You.
Go ahead.
Me, don't have their schedule in front of me, but I think Bama.
Well, you want to go through it one at a time?
You go through it. Yeah, you go through
You
it.
go through it.
All right, Rice at home. I think they win.
Obviously, yeah.
I think first loss of the season, Bama.
So I need you to clarify here for the folks at home. Are you over 9.5 or below it?
I'm below it.
You're below it.
Yeah.
All right. So Texas under here.
Oh, we're taking Texas under.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We need 3 losses here.
Yeah.
So let's hear it.
3 losses. You got 1 at Bama.
One at Bama, yeah. Wyoming at home. I think you take that one. Baylor away. That one's always iffy for me. Never know what Baylor's going to do. I think that's I'll research it more as it gets here. Top game. I think if you're going to have your second loss, possibly Baylor on the road. Kansas is a great football team this year.
Think so?
I think so, but no, they're not gonna. Texas will beat Kansas.
Kansas is not a great football team.
Oh, I
No,
did
they
not
got-
know where he was going.
They've got
They're
some players.
better.
They've got some players.
They're
I've researched
better.
them.
They're better as
They
a
are
player.
better. They are better.
So what do we got? That's what, 1 loss, 2 loss right there.
Yeah. A possible second loss. You have 1 loss for sure. Possible second.
I think they beat Oklahoma.
Definitely.
Uh,
I'm with
say
you.
I don't
I'll
think
ride with you
definitely.
on that one.
I don't think definitely.
Houston away. I hadn't researched Houston a lot.
Not gonna be great. Not
I
gonna be
feel
great.
like that could be a loss.
They're gonna have trouble. They're one of the 4 teams coming into the Big 12 early. They're going to have trouble coming from the American to.
Yeah.
the
So
Big
that
12.
that could be your 3rd loss right there. I think you bounce back against BYU at home.
Do you?
I'm gonna rock with Quinn on that one. I think Quinn can get you by BYU.
for sure.
Kansas State. I think if you're gonna have any more losses of the season, I think that would be your last loss right there. It's either them or Iowa State. I think you win one of those games or you lose one of those games.
I will say Kansas State is always just that shot in the dark team.
I think Kansas State would be a loss that you're going to need if you're betting under.
Yeah.
I mean, if I would lean to the under at 9.5 with you, but I'm going to change your wins up just a little bit. My losses would be Bama, Oklahoma, and Kansas State. That would be my top 3 teams. I feel like is
I
their
think
toughest.
we agree on the Bama and Kansas State. I think the Houston game is going to something about it.
I think Houston's probably going to fire their coach this year. I think they're going to have trouble moving over to.
It's just one of those things where like you think Texas is back and then they
There
they go.
I want to pull a Corso here, and I want to say not so fast. Because I have a feeling Texas.
You think they're back?
No,
That's a big word.
no, no. But I think Texas gets beat by Bama. But I think Big 12 wise, they're better than everybody else.
Yeah.
I'm going here, and I talked to you about this earlier. I think Texas is playing in the Big 12 championship. Either way,
I agree with that.
What do you have them finishing at?
I think they're playing.
I'll go with
in
a
it.
2-loss Texas team.
2 loss Texas.
But I could also see Texas being that number 5 that's 9-1 that got beat by Bama and having to sit out of the playoff because of that loss.
What other teams do you got competing for the Big 12 championship? Who's in the hunt? Who else do you think is going to be in that championship game?
Let me pull it back up.
Because their road games are not terrible.
Their road games aren't terrible, but
They don't have to travel far. 3 of their 4 road games are in the state of Texas.
They're playing in Texas either way. A lot of teams in Texas.
Baylor,
Houston, Baylor,
TCU,
yes,
Tech.
Tech's at home, but
Yeah.
yeah, it will be in.
One of them, Texas.
Yeah,
So
They've got a
a
3
lot of
down-
games in Texas.
They
who's
got a
on the
3
other
down-
side? Who's on the other side?
I mean,
I don't say I haven't thought about who they would play. I've only thought about them
Well,
making it
Big 12 doesn't play, East and West. So
They
it's
don't?
just top 2.
top 2.
So I mean, I think it's going to be Oklahoma or Kansas State. Would
I
be
could see
my-
that.
it
I could
would-
see them playing them back to back.
I think they're going to have to play one of them
Yeah.
teams twice. But this is regular season win totals here, and you're accounting for the regular season.
I think
for your
8 and
bet.
4. If Texas cannot get 8 wins of Quinn, if Quinn stays healthy, Sarkisian,
Well, 8 wins, you still win your bet. 9 wins, you can win your bet on the under.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I mean, you just got to hope Texas isn't back.
Yeah,
Well,
I like it. Good bet. Good bet.
I like it too.
yeah.
Because
I'm a Quinn guy.
Texas is always the overhype.
I can't go with you on them only losing 2 simply with the fact that the trend of Texas is back every year and it never
Yeah,
happens.
for sure. I can
Yeah.
see where you're coming from. I don't know. I like yours that much.
They've
That's my
got
thing.
16
And I like
starters coming back, 10 on offense.
Yeah.
A lot of
It's a
firepower.
lot on
Yeah.
offense. You want to go ahead with your last pick?
Shock of the nation here.
Oh,
Colorado.
Oh,
Colorado over 3.5 wins.
Colorado. Big Deion
First year-
Sanders. Right behind
First
us.
year
Right behind us.
Power 5 head coach Deion Sanders. Deion brings a lot of firepower with him. I mean, 4 stars from Florida State coming in. He's got 4-star from Bama coming in. He has his 2 sons coming in, both very good, well-rounded ball players. Probably Shador is better than Shiloh. Quarterback, heavily recruited coming out of high school. Offers from Bama, Texas, Ohio State. I mean, just everywhere. And then you had the number 1 player overall in Travis Hunter in, what was it,
Is he going to play both ways?
playing both ways.
I think so. He did in the spring game, didn't he?
He did. But he's in big boy territory out there in the Pac-12. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, as big as that is.
And he has had trouble being completely healthy the whole time.
Yeah.
So I think he's better offensively to me than he is defensively. But I think his defensive skills are going to help him out a lot more on offense.
That's a hot take, I feel like. I feel like he's definitely better defensively.
I don't know, man. He's got it. Is all I know. He's
He does. When you're playing,
very good ball player.
When you're playing in the division he was playing in,
Yeah.
he for sure had it.
I mean, he was overall the number 1 ranked athlete in the nation.
I know. In Pac-12, he's going to go against some good quarterback play. It's pretty good quarterback play.
But do you think he's going to play both sides?
I think he's going to play defense for sure, and I think offense would be the question mark.
I think you need to go to On3, look at the transfers coming in for Colorado. You have
You got a tough schedule. Tough
have-
non-con starting out with TCU.
You have a linebacker coming in from Bama. You have 3 DBs, all 4 stars, 1 5 or 2 4-stars, 1 5-star coming in from Florida State, playing for them on defense. So I see Travis playing offensively rather than defensively. That's just me. They've got a few defensive linemen coming in. Obviously, game 1 TCU, I do not see that as a win. I see that as, if they can sneak that win away, I see them winning more than 6 games, honestly. But if they lose that, they're definitely at the 4 to 5 range. They play Nebraska week 2. Matt Rule, also first-year head coach at Nebraska. And I know you are a Matt Rule guy.
I wouldn't say I'm a Matt Rule guy. I think he's going to be better than Scott Foster, but
Not hard to top.
not
there.
hard. Not. He ain't got big shoes.
The
to
bar
fill.
is very low.
So I'm
I
going.
think he's going to win game 1 in Ireland. That's
Yeah.
a sneak peek for whenever our week 0 podcast comes out.
I'm going Colorado against Nebraska. I
don't hate it.
I have that feeling.
It's at Colorado.
That's 1 win.
At 11 a.m. I believe that's going to be a big noon kickoff
11 a.m.
probably, while Colorado is only 0-1.
I'm going Colorado against Colorado State, week 3. I feel like it's a given. I mean, it's not really, but kind of is. They're 1-9 last year.
Yeah.
But you got to be better than what you were last year. And I think Deion can get them to that 4-win season at least.
All right, so just give me your 4 wins here.
All right. Nebraska, Colorado State, lost to Oregon, lost to USC, win at Arizona State, possibly. Win at Stanford, guaranteed, I believe. That's, 3 wins right there? 4th win possible with Arizona State.
Yeah.
Toss up in the air against UCLA. I do feel like UCLA is probably going to come out on top on that one. Then they go to Oregon State.
I think Oregon State comes to Colorado.
They go
I think it's
to
at
Colorado?
I think it's at Colorado. Yeah, at Colorado.
Okay.
The Beavers.
I don't feel like Oregon State has it in them to beat them this year.
They got Carson's boy, DJ Ongavalua, do they not?
I didn't know you and him were that tight.
No, we're nowhere near it.
No, that's his
I
guy.
didn't think-
That's
he's
his
not-
guy. That's his guy.
He's not a fan of him.
No.
I
He's
see
going to be
that-
checking your luggage.
I
at
see
the
that
airport
as
soon.
another possible win.
Yep.
I don't think the Beavers have it this year. I don't think they've ever had it, really. They had it when they played Oregon last year. Obviously, tore my parlay right in half.
Yep.
I do not see Arizona beating them either, really.
So you could be looking at 6.
I could be looking at a possible 6.
3 to 6 is a big gap.
I know. But, you never know. I mean, you honestly never know. But I could see, I just don't see Arizona really beating them either. They have a young quarterback, Arizona does. He has very good potential, for sure. Washington State, definite loss. Utah, you're not getting past the
Yeah.
Utes. You are not getting past the Utes.
Utah at home's a different breed.
Yeah.
Colorado or Carson, I want to get your take on this. You said you were earlier in the show. You said you were fading Colorado.
Yeah, I know he says they got some players on defense. I'm just not going to buy into the hype. I think I've seen some videos, and I've seen a lot of undersized guys. Unless those guys are gone, I think they're going to get bully balled in a lot of games.
I tend to agree, but I don't know that I'm betting against them because as far as it looks, Vegas doesn't like them at all.
So you're fading Vegas?
Nah, I think I'm just going to leave them alone. I wanted to fade Colorado because I figured they'd have some hype with Dion, but Vegas ain't giving in to the hype. They're not giving good odds on it. I think
You're not going to catch me.
Dion's likely to lose, a foot or the whole leg at this point.
Yeah, he is in the hospital.
He
Yeah,
is.
so
You're not going to catch me giving you out picks Colorado games. I'm just kind of indifferent about them.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
agree.
I
mean,
just like the regular season win total at this point. I feel like he has that name and he has brought the players in. He was never able to win the big game at Jackson State, which does say a lot also, but
I think if you lose week 2 against Nebraska, I think you're in very big trouble.
for sure.
And I think that is a game that can be lost.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a for sure win.
For sure.
But
This is that toss up right here.
This is a team that's
Yeah.
like, yeah, we got to see it. And
Yeah.
Nebraska is too, really,
Yeah.
with Matt Rule and like
What
it
was
is
it?
a team we got to
Was
see.
it week 0 last year? Me and you watched Nebraska and
in
Northwestern,
Ireland,
and
yeah. They play again in Ireland.
we watched them duel it out to absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Anything else on Colorado, Grayson? You got any thoughts? You didn't chime in at all. You hate Dion. You hate Travis Hunter. You hate Dion's sons. Anybody else? You hate his eight toes. Is he gonna lose some?
He's definitely losing more.
He's got that.
He's losing the whole
He
foot.
only has 8 toes.
I'll
He's
steal
losing the
all
whole
that.
foot. It's been guaranteed.
Left or right?
Which one did he hit? I don't know. I think it's the left.
Yeah, I'd rather lose my left.
Not me.
Any
I'm
thoughts,
left-handed.
Grayson, on Colorado
I
plus
think-
3.5?
I think it's doable. I think they're overhyped coming into the season. I think Dion, for one thing, can always bring the hype. And what he did at J-State last year,
Dion was very good at
He
talking
can-
trash, always.
he can win a locker room, that's for sure, but he can lose it just as fast, I think. So it's just what happens those first 2 games of the season.
Yeah, we're gonna see what he can do with the big boys in the Pac-12 this year. It's gonna be a very different,
Fast
everything
pace.
around them as far as from Jackson State to Colorado. Well, I'll round off the last of the regular season win totals. I'm gonna go with the under as well. Under 7.5 wins for the Ole Miss Rebels. Minus 110 on the odds, so you're getting it pretty even odds here. Any thoughts initially on me fading the Rebels and Lane Kiffin, the Lane train?
I don't hate it.
I don't think he did a very good job recruiting because, as me and you have went over many times before, Lane wanted the job at Auburn.
Yeah, he did. But I'll run through the schedule real quick. Follow along with you. Mercer win. At Tulane, they did a home and home with Tulane at Tulane. I got it down. Win, or is it?
Yeah, win.
I did.
Yeah,
Tulane was not bad last year.
they're getting past Tulane.
All right, Georgia Tech win. At Alabama, loss.
Loss.
LSU at home,
Loss.
Arkansas,
Loss.
toss up, but I'm leaning towards loss. At Auburn,
Loss.
Loss.
Game.
Grayson said loss.
That's like 5 L's in a row right there.
I mean, yeah, we're.
Give me that Vandy.
We
dub.
just got to get to.
Give me my Vandy dub.
I mean, I just got to get to 7, so I got to get. I got to find 5 losses. So we got at Alabama, LSU, Arkansas. That's 3. Auburn could be 4 already. Vandy, sorry, Jacob.
I think, yeah. Beat
Texas
Vandy.
Texas A&M, I think loss. At Georgia, definitely loss. I'm counting 6. Louisiana Monroe, win, or is it? At Mississippi State to end the year in the Egg Bowl.
They lost the way they did last
You throwing
year.
out that pirate flag or not, big dog?
I'm going with the Bulldogs. Bring out the Cowbells, and I'm gonna say that could be 7 losses for the Ole Miss Rebels. Their defense is going to be atrocious. Could be the worst in the SEC. Very tough schedule at Bama, at Georgia. When you have to go to Tuscaloosa and you have to go to Athens, that's pretty much 2 guaranteed losses.
I think out of
even
everyone.
for Lane Kiffin, and not buying into old Dart.
Jackson Dart.
Jackson Dart, I'm not buying into him or the other
I
2
haven't really
quarterbacks Lane
felt
Kiffin
like
says he
he-
has.
One's 17 years old.
They're
Did
run-
y'all say that?
Yeah, 17. Not buying him yet. Their running back is pretty good. Their offense will be good. They're going to put up points, but they're not going to be able to stop anybody. I think 5 losses here for the Rebels is not too much to ask. I think I can get there. I like this one a lot.
I like
I
that
will
one a lot, too.
I will be putting a couple units on it just because I do think their strength of schedule is hard. I'm high on Arkansas. I told you that. High on LSU. At Auburn puts a kink in it. When you have to go, that's some tough places to play. Your road games are Tulane, which shouldn't be tough, but could be, I think, as far as how bad Ole Miss's defense will be. At Tuscaloosa, at Auburn, at Georgia and Athens, and then at State to end the year. That's 4 very losable road games for the Rebels, and those are going to be some nasty opponents to see in and away games. So I mean, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that Ole Miss could finish dead last in the SEC West. I don't think that's too much to ask. Because, I mean, it's going to come down to Mississippi State's close to the bottom. Auburn could be
Mississippi
close to the
State
bottom.
and
Grayson could
A&M.
lose his.
Auburn good tank.
A&M is one of those teams that could be second, or could be first, or could be 7th in the SEC West. Really, I have no calibers on it, but I'm low on Ole Miss, and I'm gonna take the under, and I'm gonna fade them several times through this gauntlet of a schedule.
Yeah, I agree with that one a lot. Probably every pick you've said, other than I don't know about the Mississippi State. I don't know who they've got on that squad yet, but
They're the most experienced team in the SEC. I don't know how much stock you want them putting in that because I don't know how great they were.
where's it being played at?
It's at Mississippi State, but they have well, his name's left me. What's Mississippi State's quarterback? He's been there forever. Wow, my gosh,
The guy who runs all the time.
Will
Hey.
Rogers. Will Rogers.
He transferred.
Will Rogers is still there. He's still their starter. Did not transfer.
Who's the guy they brought in with?
He's been a starter since he's a freshman, so this is his 4th year starting, or I think 4th or
Yeah,
3rd.
he'd probably take another loss.
I thought
there
they
then.
brought. I thought that he brought somebody from Washington State when he came.
No, I don't think so. It's still Will Rogers, I believe. But, I mean, they're going to have some experience, so I do think that will help them. But I think that even without the Mississippi State game, they can still lose to Auburn, and I can still cash in that ticket. And it's minus 110, so it's even money, so that doesn't hurt the wallet too bad. And I like the pick. I think it could work out. Anything else on Ole Miss before we get to seat warmer segment?
Lane Kiffin will be gone in how many? Over under 3 seasons.
They love Lane Kiffin.
They
But
do
does
love
Lane Kiffin love Ole Miss? That's
I think so
Yes.
right now.
Did you not see the man in Nashville? I mean, just he looked
Could you see Lane Kiffin in Florida?
He was like, dude, he
No.
looked
No.
hungover and like he fell asleep. And
I
spray
think
tan.
He
Lane
looked like
Kiffin.
he looked like he had done something for sure the night before that he wasn't supposed to do.
Yeah,
The LSD
100%.
was still in his system.
Something
for sure.
was. Something was.
I think Lane Kiffin. He loves Alabama. Every time I see it, an interview with the guy, he's talking about Saban or Bama. I don't know.
He
He's got to
just
give
gets clicks.
Saban credit. Yeah, he's got to give Saban credit somewhere, man. He brought him back from the deepest, darkest depths. When you get thrown off of a bus mid bus ride because you've been fired
Yeah.
from USC, you were
I don't.
scraping
I don't
right
wouldn't
there.
question his coaching. I mean, the season when Bama had Mark Ingram and that elite deep, what 2012, I think.
2011.
What was the year
or 2009 was the 2010.
the year the kick was blocked? I mean, he was the head coach of Tennessee on that squad
2009.
and pitched a great game. If his kicker would have made it, he would have beat one of the most dominant Alabama teams. And
First year at Ole Miss, man, probably one of, if not the best Alabama teams, and he gave them the closest run to their money that year.
yeah, I think the guy can put a game plan together when his head's on his shoulders.
The whole going for it on fourth down of the season. after
Yeah, he
that.
makes some.
he's
He
gotta
also
figure that
makes
out.
some stupid.
Yeah, he loves to lose a ball game with his coaching ability as
It's
well.
kind of like Kirby Smart putting Justin Fields in on 4th and 10 in the.
Yeah,
SEC
not thinking
championship
that we
game.
knew that a fake
Yeah.
field or
Yeah.
fake punt was going to happen. Yeah,
Let's use your brain, Kirby.
Alright, well, that wraps up the regular season win totals. Just to go back over them, you have USC plus 9.5. Go ahead, finish.
Yeah, USC over 9.5, Auburn over 6.5, and I had Tennessee under 9.5.
Carson.
I had Texas under 9. Clemson 10 wins, 10-2, and same for LSU 10-2.
Jacob.
Notre Dame over 8.5. Vanderbilt over 3.5, and Colorado
Over 3.5.
over 3.5.
A couple of 4-win teams for you.
Yep.
Got Arkansas over 6.5, Iowa over 8.5, and Ole Miss under 7.5. And that wraps up our regular season win totals. If you bet it along with us, tweet us. Put it down in the comments of the YouTube section. If you like picks, if you don't like picks, tell us what you hate. Tell us what you want to fade. We love to hear it. We want maybe put a little side bet on it with you. DM us on Twitter, whatever. Let us know what you think of our picks, and we'll be right back, and then we'll get into our seat warmers. All right, we're back. Took a little break after regular season win totals. Hope you enjoyed that segment. We're going to do a similar thing when season rolls around. We'll talk about our bets, give each other picks. We'll figure out a system how we want to do it, and a little side bet and a punishment for the end of the season as well, I think is going to likely happen. But right now we're going to do seat warmers. Whose seat's getting a little warm? Who's got a lot to prove this season? Who, if they don't prove it, is going to be in a lot of trouble come the end of the season, could lose their job or, something to that extent. I'll go ahead and start if y'all don't mind. I think Ryan Day is going to be looking at a rough time this season. He has to beat Michigan, and if he doesn't beat Michigan, he's got to somehow win the national championship, or I think he's gone. Ohio State is not going to sit around and wait for a coach to figure it out. They want to win now, and a 10-game win season is not enough for Ohio State. I mean, they cannot get beat by Michigan 3 years in a row. They need to be back in. They were in the playoff last year. We had a chance to
had it
won, but they didn't. They got beat by Michigan, and then did not make the championship game. So I think he is going to be in trouble. They lose a lot. They still got a lot coming back. Marvin Harrison still coming back. Great wide receiver room. Great talent, really all around.
It's got no excuses.
No excuse. They got a decent schedule.
All the talent in the world.
They got Ohio. They got. I know they play Notre Dame, Michigan, Penn State, all those good fellas, and
Born on third base. So
yeah.
come on,
And
let's
born on third
bring it
base.
home.
And that is going. If he gets beat by Michigan again, and say they don't make a playoff, I think he's gone.
Yeah, them glutes will be hot.
Who y'all got? Whose seat's getting hot?
I'm going Bill Napier
Bill
from
Napier,
Florida.
for sure.
As I said earlier, not very hot on the recruitment trail. A lot of talent in Florida in general on its own.
IMG's right down the road.
IMG is right down the road. What's that high school Jerry Judy played at?
I don't remember. I'm not gonna know. I can look it up for you, but I'm not gonna know.
St. Thomas Aquinas, right down the road also in Florida. South Beach boys, a lot of talent in South Beach in general.
The answer was Deerfield Beach.
Deerfield Beach.
Never heard of them. I don't know.
Yeah.
You may. But, yeah, I agree. Yeah, Florida is going to be in rough shape this year. They got a rough schedule. They're another program that wants to succeed. Really hasn't had it in the last
And a good bit of talent on the
15.
team too.
15 years.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I agree. He's
Not the same since Urban left, really.
no. Ohio State's the same way.
Yeah,
Ohio State
exactly.
hasn't been the same since Urban's
I mean,
left.
Dan Meyer, he had a shot against Bama that year, but he'd already had a loss earlier to Auburn that year.
I don't remember, but yeah. Yeah, I think Billy Napier's for sure on the hot seat. I think he will be fired
Glutes.
by next season.
Glutes are burning.
Glutes are burning.
Not even leg day.
Carson?
This is just a me thing. I wouldn't say his job is in jeopardy. It's more of a, come on, man. Kind of like with the Ryan Day scenario. And I'm going to say Lincoln Riley
Yeah,
because
I'm bagging you.
if you think about it,
He ain't been-
the guy's has 3. Caleb's going to be the number 1 pick. Does anybody disagree with that?
No.
You've had 3 number 1 picks: Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, and now Caleb. And you at least got to get there. I mean, are you going to have a better? Do you think Caleb's probably the best one out of those 3?
Yeah,
Maybe.
I do. Yeah.
A lot of people do.
Yeah, Jalen
I
Hurts as
think
well.
we're forgetting
Jalen
a
Hurts.
very important fourth one who just got to the
Wasn't a
Super
number
Bowl
1
last year.
pick though.
Yeah.
In his
No,
defense,
number one-
Yeah,
no,
you're
it's
right,
number
you're
one
right,
pick.
You're right, you're right.
But you've had all, and plus nobody was beating LSU that year.
No.
So, I mean, it's not like you're a bad coach, but whenever all the money's on the line, you fall short each time. And I think the the telescope's on you this season. You got the best quarterback in the college football. You got to make something happen.
the problem with him, what's the saying? Defense wins championships. That man doesn't give a shit about
No.
defense.
No.
He does not care about defense. He's never had a defense, and he's never seemed like he wanted
His
one.
Best defense was Baker's last year.
Yeah, versus
Against
Georgia,
Georgia.
that was probably one of the greatest games
And
I've ever
they
seen.
laid down in the second half.
Still was both scores were in the 50s.
Oh, it was a shootout.
It
Exactly. There was no defense being played.
But
that was his
what,
best
Oklahoma
defense.
scored only how many more touchdowns did they score at halftime? Well, they scored a pretty good bit.
It went
after
to
halftime,
it,
didn't
it was
they?
one in overtime. It was.
Yeah,
It was one in
yeah.
overtime.
Mhm.
So it was really who had the ball last.
Yeah.
And Baker didn't touch it again at the end.
But Lincoln's he's never had a good defense. I don't think it's going to change this year. I don't think he's going to have a great defense. And Grayson's high on him. He picked him over in his wins.
That's what I'm
chime
saying.
in
A
a little bit.
a lot of people like you this season, so
They've got a lot of people coming back. It's my only thing. And you still have Caleb Williams.
If
he
they
stays
weren't good
healthy.
last year, coming back,
Well,
is
it's
that
not that they weren't good.
their
They were
defense
good.
wasn't?
Utah, kind of shocked them. The fact that they beat them twice, which you get to that conference championship and you're starting to think maybe we don't have anything to play for anymore, which that wasn't really the case at the time. But there really is no excuse. he should be winning these games. He should at least make it to the big dance.
If he doesn't get to the playoff this year, he may never. Really, I don't.
Should he go back to being OC? So
yeah, he's always going to have a job as an OC, I believe.
I think he's going to have a job as a head coach somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe not USC in like 2 or 3 years, but I think he's going to have. He'll have a Power 5 job for the foreseeable future, I believe. You thinking Kansas ain't going to hire him? Visa.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like the guy's he's
gonna
not
have a
going to be
job.
looking for a job.
I think if anything, he would leave.
I don't think he
and-
could get that same recruitment pool though from
I think for
Kansas.
some reason, who he reminds me of is his, at Cliff Kingsbury. That's who he reminds me of from
Yeah.
Texas Tech, and
It's
then
good
now in the
similarity.
pros. Like Cliff didn't do anything, but he had good offenses at Texas Tech, but he never won anything.
Two great quarterbacks,
Great
Manziel.
great quarterbacks, great offenses, but never won anything. And I think Lincoln, because he's a name everybody knows, he's had good quarterbacks. He could get a pro job. Like I think.
I think he should be calling plays. He could do it in the pro level, and somebody's got to handle his defense.
Yeah, I agree, and he's just not defensive minded at all. He's a great offensive mind.
Over exaggerated quarterbacks coach.
And that's
Can run the whole
He
offense.
he'd be an offense coordinator.
Can run the whole offense, but you throw
I
a
would-
defensive scheme on his table and he's looking at it like, what do you want me to do with it?
I would take him at OC at the Dallas Cowboys any day. I don't want him as my head coach.
That's all I've had was like yours, the Ryan Day, and Lincoln Riley. If I had to pick a player, I know y'all might disagree with this one, but I think if he doesn't show, strides in his passing game early, I think Milroe, that bench may be calling your name.
I think similar. I think Quentin Ewers. If Quentin Ewers has a
I
bad
think-
game against Bama,
You think so? You think they're
I
pulling
just think,
Arch?
Well, I think they're calling Malik Murphy. He showed out. I just think that fan base is so ready to win right now. Like if Quentin Ewers doesn't look great, they're going to be calling for his job. I feel like with
Yeah.
Arch behind him and Malik Murphy, I don't know. I think he could be like walking on eggshells a
You
little
think
bit
if,
if he has a bad performance.
Do you think if Arch is third string and then second string again next year, you think he's out this year?
Maybe.
Think he's in transfer portal?
Yeah, if he don't think he can win the job, I feel like he's going to be one of those guys that's uber confident. But if he don't think he can win the job against Malik Murphy next year, I think he's gone.
Yeah.
And you know where
Ole Miss.
I think he
Lincoln
could,
Riley?
You think he could go with Lincoln Riley at
USC?
USC? I think he could be the next USC guy, and that would
Or,
save Lincoln Riley's job for another 3 years. Or
How many
whatever.
years does Ewers have left?
This is it.
This is his
This is
last,
it?
I
This is
think.
last?
Yeah.
Or
I
no.
believe so.
I don't know. I don't know.
Did
He
he spend
transferred
2
from
years-
Ohio State.
He was just a freshman at Ohio State. And so last year was his sophomore year.
He's a junior this year.
This is his junior year, yeah.
You could see him going to Lincoln Riley if
You
he gets
could.
booted.
You could.
Yeah, if he
I
loses,
did not
if he
think about
loses
that.
his job, say Malik Murphy jumps in, plays
One of
great,
those three
whatever.
guys is going to Lincoln Riley.
One of those three guys has to leave.
Yeah.
But all right, Grayson, seat warmer. Who you got?
I think it's a pretty common one this season. Going into it, I think Jimbo Fisher is definitely on the hotter seat of the group.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I think he'd already be gone if it went for the big buyout. I
Yeah,
think they're kind of
that
waiting
is
for
true.
that to trickle down or whatever. But
Well, then he wouldn't get
just
fired
gonna-
this year.
They're
He's
going.
if his seat gets hot enough, it's going to turn into a throne because the man is going to be rich if he does lose his job.
he delivered them. He led them to their first losing season since 2009 last year. So, I mean,
After having the number 1 recruiting class in the country.
and they have crazy boosters at A&M. So it says a lot. If he can't get it done, I still think they might bite the bullet and kick him to the curb.
Yeah, they want to win now, and they want to win now bad, and their NIL money has proven that for sure. I agree with you 100%. I do think he's going to be looking at, and we talked about him earlier, and what I said on it proves I'm not high on him. I don't think he's a great coach, and they got what's his name as the coordinator now?
It's right here. It's Bobby Petrino.
Bobby Petrino. Yeah,
Yeah. Petrino
yeah.
on
He,
a motorcycle accident.
Says-
That's bound
it
to
says-
happen again, big dog.
It's always miserable looking forward to, like, if you're in the SEC West, you've got a lot to face. I mean,
It
you've got a tough schedule this season, I feel like.
Still the hardest division in football,
It
I
is.
believe. Them and then the Big Ten, West,
East?
Yeah, I don't know. The one with
East.
Penn State, Ohio State, and
Probably-
Michigan in it.
Probably
Whatever one that
East.
is. I can't
Maybe
remember.
not.
Well,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Let's not
But,
get too
but granted, this is the last year of those divisions. Both of those divisions will be going away next year. That's going to shake up college football a ton. I mean, just not having those set divisions. You're going to play Alabama every year. You're going to play
moving
Michigan
the
and
Iron
Ohio
Bowl.
State every year.
Iron Bowl is what, mid-season next year?
Nah, it's still at the end of the year.
Is it still at the end
Thank
of the year?
God. That would be such a mind bend to
It
have
just
it
won't. It
mid-season.
won't mean as much because I mean, what you'll be both in
We're not
the
even-
East. Is that correct?
No, there's no divisions.
No.
Oh,
We're,
divisions.
just, we're just in the
Uh,
SEC. Everybody, I mean,
But
everybody's in.
It's kind of
every
like
division.
me and I think it might have been your dad the other day brought it up. They're gonna have to go back to it. You're just gonna lose one of those less
I don't think so.
crappy team games. I think they will. I think you're gonna have to. How are you gonna do? I mean,
You have your.
they do the 1 and 2 in the Big 12. Yeah, great idea. But at the same time, man, like, what are you gonna do with like 3 or 4 one-loss teams up there at the top?
The schedules. I don't think that's gonna be really
Well,
possible.
they expand the playoffs, and you're going to have some 2-loss teams.
Yeah, but for conference championships is what I'm talking about.
It's gonna be hard to have.
Your conference championships are pretty much going to become irrelevant at that point.
You know, Georgia's still gonna play Tennessee every year, like Auburn every year, or whatever their rivals are.
Georgia's going to play Florida every year.
Yeah,
Well,
whatever.
at this point, you could be penalized for playing in your conference games. You lose it, then you're sitting there with 2 loss. The team who doesn't play it, they get in.
Yeah, really. I mean, now, but
You're still a second seed if you're in the conference championship, though, aren't you?
yeah,
You're first seed if you win, then you go through and you have the bye, basically.
Oh, you seen it with TCU last season. What they lost their conference game, and then they were just hoping and praying they got put
shouldn't
in.
have ever
Shouldn't
been.
have got put in,
They
but
shouldn't have never been.
I mean, they beat Michigan,
Yeah.
so there's something to be said about that. You know, beating Michigan like that. I mean, I think Georgia was
After
just
Michigan
heading.
came out and just curb stomped Ohio State, and then Ohio State was one.
Should have beat Georgia.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. I think Georgia was just head and shoulders above TCU really last year, but we'll see. I mean, who's going to be that TCU and Georgia next week? Next week we will predict our each college playoff. We're going to do all 4 teams, how they get there, road to it, and then crown our champion. We'll fill it out, have our little brackets, our little 4-team brackets, and we'll pick our futures. We'll give you the odds next week on the Four Verts podcast. Thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, comment, tell us what we missed on, tell us how we're idiots. Let us know, and thanks for watching.